here now with John Smoltz. John, we have made it. Game 1 of the World Series is today. Justin Verlander against Aaron Nola on the mound. First off, what a great matchup. But my question for you is, are you a little surprised that the Phillies went Nola and not Zach Wheeler in Game 1 here today?
Not really, only because if you can give one of your studs an extra day, it's been a long journey for Philly. Of course, Houston's taking care of their opponents with no losses, so they've had the rest all the way. I think it sets up well if you think about what Wheeler has done on the road. He's been outstanding. It's a flip of the coin, but I think the extra rest would help.
Okay. This team, the Houston Astros, this team is dominated, right, and won World Series to date so far. Do you see any similarities with this Houston Astros team that went to 6 straight ALCSs? They're here for the 4th time in 6 years with your Atlanta Braves teams in the 90s. That was dominant. Do you see any similarities?
Well, the only similarities are they have a deeper rotation. They have the rotation-driven, and we were basically a starting rotation-driven, but they make way more contact than we did offensively, and I think that's been a key of success for them to get here, along with great starting pitching and an unbelievable bullpen. This is probably the deepest bullpen I've seen them have, from the ability of bringing guys in left and right. They don't have any left-handers to speak of per se, but their right-handers get left-handed hitters out, so it's really a balance of great stuff. And I think they got the deepest rotation in all of baseball. It's why they've been here. It's why they could sustain the 18-inning game against Seattle. They've really done everything you have to do to win games. They don't necessarily have to blow people out.
Yeah. So Justin Verlander on the mound tonight. I am not going to be well during that start.
I was going to say, your pulse has got to be really high right now.
Just got lunch with my parents. They're not doing great, but here we are. So Justin's on the mound. What does he have to do tonight? You've been in this situation multiple times. You have a hitter like Bryce Harper who is so locked in right now in a lineup that is really clicking on all cylinders. How does he approach this game? Is it a little different with the nerves, or do you just attack like you've been doing?
No, he has every kind of weapon that you would want to expose the weakness of the other team. Now, having said that, this is a free-swinging team that wants to get stuff done early. But Justin can get the ball to the top of the zone better than any starter in baseball, and that's where some of the weakness is for the Philadelphia Phillies. Can they control the strike zone? They haven't shown that yet. It's kind of by the way they've been successful. They hit home runs, they hit in bunches, they score big runs in short period of time. I don't think that's going to be the recipe for success today. They're going to have to make sure that they control the strike zone, and I don't think Justin's going to let him do that, and I don't think he's going to let Harper beat him, because I believe he's probably got that circled. And he's going to make the right-handers behind Harper do something. When you play in the postseason, you know the other team's good. You know certain guys are hot and certain guys aren't. What you have to do is make the other guys beat you. And if they do, you tip your hat, but you don't let the Stars beat you.
With 2 1/3 innings tonight, Justin will join you, Glavine, and Andy Pettitte as the only pitchers to throw 200 or more innings in a postseason. That's a full season. Yeah. You're one of those. This start tonight, Game 1, you've been there before. When you look back on your starts in the World Series, does one stick out to you that you remember and you felt good going into? And just of any of those 8, does one stick out to you?
Well, Game 7 always does against Minnesota, but my first one was probably the most nerve-wracking, because you complete the cycle, you finally get there for the first time, and you know this is it. The other ones, you're just trying to keep the team moving, trying to pass the baton on. But when you get to the World Series, you know there's only 2 teams, and you may not get 2 starts. So pitching Game 1 for me, my first game, which I believe was Game 4 against Minnesota, was a little nerve-wracking, even though I had a pretty good postseason leading into it. And then Game 7 is the ultimate. I mean, you dream of those, and it didn't go the way we wanted, but it was one of the greatest games ever.
You have been a part of many Game 1s. Are the nerves different? And I know it's easy to say, but you wake up on the morning of Game 1. Do you, who's been there a bunch of times, pitched a million times in the playoffs, is Game 1 nerves a little bit different?
Well, I would say this. Game 1 is an opportunity to start out the series in the way you want. I loved Game 1s. I don't know if I lost a Game 1, maybe because I felt like I wanted to set the team in motion and get them off to a good start. Game 1s of a best-of-5 are huge. Not as big in a best-of-7, but they're still a good tone setting for your team, especially if you have home field advantage. So you can't wait to get out for Game 1. It's actually harder to wait later in the series, I think. So Game 1, you get to get out, get in rhythm, do your thing, and then pass the baton on to the next guy.
This series about to get underway. Astros, Phillies. Everybody knows the big names in these rotations. Justin, Framber Valdez, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. But outside of those four, who are some guys you think could have a big factor in this series when it's all said and done?
Well, I think when you think about the Philadelphia Phillies and how they're kind of built, they are built on a lot of swing and miss and aggressive style. Nick Castellanos is a really good player. He has not had a really good year. He's trying to fix some things mechanically. I think if he does well, that would serve well for Philadelphia, no doubt in my mind. With Houston, they have so many more components that they could rely on. Will they get anything out of their catchers, with the catchers being so important defensively? If they get anything out of their catchers, that's a bonus. But I think mainly what Houston's going to be able to do is limit the damage offensively with their pitching. Their defense is outstanding, and they're going to try to keep the other team to solo home runs. That really is the formula for success.
All right, well, it's about to get started. John, thank you for joining me. We'll do this every day for a few minutes, so I appreciate it.
You're going to be all right. You're going to get through it.
Okay. Thank you. Enjoy the game. Have a great call, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Back to you guys. Enjoy the game. Lineups being announced right now, so let's check that out. The show rolls on.